So while I'm in take it apart mode, I am going to remove the carpeting from this car because I'm going to get new carpeting. So in order to make that easier or even possible, I'm going to have to take out that seat belt over there, the screw right next to it, and I have a fire extinguisher that was required by the Corvette club that I was doing autocross with this car, so that's going to have to come out. So I'm going to set the camera up focused on those three things. The rest in the front is not even attached anymore because I've got the door jambs off and the kick panels off on both sides, consoles out, so that's just going to be lifted up. Nothing to see there. Okay, I mentioned a couple times when I first got this Milwaukee impact wrench that I was confused by it because it was opposite direction for the push button of my drill driver, and I don't know why I had that problem, but it is actually the same direction. Okay, let's see what, okay, as usual I don't have this on full power, so let's try it again. That's another problem I had with this. There's a power selector up here, and for removing, you're better off setting it to full power. For tightening, you need to set it to an appropriate power. Okay, this fire extinguisher, which I installed, just held in by a couple of Phillips head screws. And this really doesn't have to come off just yet, but eventually, to get this piece here out, it's got to come off. And while I'm here with the screw gun, I might as well take this little piece that's in there for hooking up to straps that hold the T-tops in the back, or I guess any cargo. Okay, I'll get this stuff out of the way and then I'll pull the carpet out. I'm going to just start pulling that down from the front. I'll slip it out from under the console here. That console's going to come out eventually, but in order to take it out, okay, there's this plate here that's covering the seat belt that is holding the carpet down, so that may have to come off, and that looks like that might be some of the darn metric screws. That is different from when I did the 74, because the 74, the seatbelt went under a little loop, which might exist here, but it's under this plastic or fiberglass plate. So I have to get the appropriate size screws for that, which I believe are metric 8. I've moved the camera to the other side because I'm sure that you couldn't see what I was talking about there, but there's a plate there. The 74, I suspect, is going to be set up the same way as under this, except you had to deal with the carpet. On this one, you don't have to deal with the carpet because of the plate. The carpet's just cut out there. I guess in the long run, it makes it a little easier once you figure out that you need a metric socket to take it off. There and there. There's some more. But I think for now, all I need to do is get this one loose. And lift this up a little bit to get this out of here. Carpet goes all the way in the back here, so it's kind of hung up on the fiberglass piece. But there, all that carpet is out. I'm going to put this cover back on, because I don't. It's not worth it to take this off to show you how the seat belt is hooked. There's just a bar here that it goes under, lies flat, and there's a bolt going down through the floor. That was a little harder to deal with in the carpet for the 74 because of the fact that you had to cut holes in the carpeting where the bolts were. With this one, all you have to do is cut so that it fits under this lip and you're good. Find the hole in the floor. There it is. Okay. So this back piece should come out fairly easy, except it's behind here. I don't know whether it's bolted through there because this has a bolt going through that you have to take out the internal or the rear cargo area to access. Okay. That carpet is out. Next I'll do the same thing on the driver's side, but no need to video that. Once you've seen it, you've seen it. So there we're looking at the carpet that goes along the almost upright portion that is behind the seats. And there are 3 doors there held onto a frame that actually kind of holds the back end of that down. It's like right under here, the frame of these compartments appears to hold down the carpet. But, and this is interesting, somebody's obviously been in here before, because these liners, I'll call them, for the compartments, 2 are underneath the frame, and this one is above it. So I guess they're supposed to go underneath, but someone, like I said, was in there and appears to have put one in wrong. Maybe they wanted it for easy access. I don't know. I might consider that, depending on what my wiring looks like when I'm done here. I might want to leave them on top and have them come out easily. So there's about 9 of these screws that are going to have to come out, and then that whole frame should lift right off. Phillips head screws. They come out better if you get the screwdriver in the slots. That's the first 3. I don't know what the status of my camera is battery wise. So if it runs out, I'm just taking out these 9 screws. The third compartment over here has no liner. It's the battery compartment. As I get closer to it to be able to examine it. The battery's been long since removed, so we don't have to deal with that. Okay, let's see if that frame lifts up now. It does, sort of. There might be a couple little screws right down there. So There are a bunch of little screws in there holding that frame down. And there are some that may only be holding the latch portion of the frame where those doors latch. So I'm going to take the ones not involving the latch out first and see what that does. As I'm looking down in this compartment here, there is a jack here. I always thought there was none in this car. So that's an interesting discovery. It was under that compartment, and for whatever reason, I never bothered to lift it up, and I was correct in assuming that the latches are screwed on only to the frame. The screws that hold the frame in, looks like there's a couple underneath the foam here on the battery compartment one, so I'm going to have to kind of pull the foam away from it to get to the screw. There's no other option. I'll only do it in those spots where the foam is covering the screw. And you can feel the bottom of the screw, so you know where to pull the foam back. There may be a couple on the side here too. Yeah, two on the side. Running from front to rear of the car. So again, those are behind foam, and you have to pull the foam back. Now the foam, when you loosen the screw and leave the screw in there, the foam will hold it in place if you don't detach too much of the foam. Trouble seeing the slot in the screw because of the foam. This kind of has a flashlight on it, but it's attached to the handle down at the base. Sometimes it doesn't do much good. There's the screw, if I can get the light on it. One's out. And one more. Locked my flashlight down, and my flashlight just ran out of juice. No, it didn't. My bad. That unfortunately doesn't help me much because my hand's in the way, creating a shadow. See the screw now. And it's not wanting to come out. That head on that screw is kind of messed up. The tool for this job is going to be a drill. Unless I can come up with a trick to get a screw head that's stripped out of that. So that screw was just held on. This is half of one of those clips that fits around something and you screw it in. I was able to just pull this off and break it off, and then it came loose. Those are easy enough to replace, so a new screw and a new clip will fix that right up. So it's kind of loose now. It's kind of a tight fit between the carpet though. And somewhere on this middle one, there's a couple of electrical connections that need to be undone. One is the switch that was added for the aftermarket theft alarm. And the other, I think, is a switch for just a light in that compartment. But, yep, there's actually, let's see what's holding that switch on. Okay, there's a little connector here that I can see if it latches in any way. Don't think it does, but with little room at work, I need a couple pairs of pliers to grip it. And the aftermarket alarm is actually not in the frame, it's in the liner, which is staying in for now. It doesn't come out with this thing for the covers. Okay, so I can close these now and pull that out. This is the wire for the light. Time to change the battery. So I've got the switch for the aftermarket alarm out. I obviously disconnected it when I was taking the body off because it was connected to a wire that went somewhere, and I wasn't intending on using that when I put it back together. That would not exist on the stock car. It's merely a shut off for that aftermarket alarm, and it is wired to a breaker. It's also got a fuse in it. But it's wired to a breaker in there that looks like it's got a heavy-duty wire coming out of it somewhere. And okay, this kind of fits underneath the slant of this back place here, so when it goes in, it's got to go in by having it at an angle and taking it out. You have to lift the back up, pull it out. So now this carpet on the back here should be free because it was under that frame. So, depending on how tight this is behind this console, and it's not at all tight, I should be able to just slip it out from under the door panel over here on the other side. And you probably didn't see what I was pointing to because I have it zoomed in further than that. Probably wouldn't have seen it anyways without the zoom because the windshield was in the way. At any rate, right here behind the door panel, the carpeting goes under there. That is old carpeting. It's tending to rip instead of just slide out. There do appear to be screws in here that may loosen that up for installation. I sure hope they do. But, right now, it's giving me a rough time. I see what the problem is. There's a wire here that's creating a lot of friction between the carpet and the molding piece. That's all it was. So apparently on the way back in, move that wire up and out of the way, get the carpet under to an extent, and then push the wire down underneath the carpet, and it should go in, I would think, fairly easily. But that's a pretty tight fit there. May not be able to move that wire too much. Might have to. There are screws in here that might loosen that panel. So we shall see. Okay. That's padding. There is no carpeting up under this lip that's attached to this back panel. So I think I have to remove the covers off of the there's covers on the seat belts back in the corner on the fender well. That's the passenger side. So I think that needs to be removed in order to get some access underneath that. Slip the carpet out. And you know what, before I start slipping too much of this carpet out, I have a speaker bar in the back, and I think that needs to come out so that bunched up carpeting isn't in the way of it coming out when I get to it. So let me see what I got to do that. Again, this is not stock. This is something I added, so if you're considering doing this job, it's really nothing you need to be concerned about. You can see the light there. Speaker bar is above that. I'm going to have to find a better way to set up a tripod to show you it. Well, forget the tripod. I'm just going to show you what it is. And it looks like there should have been some screws in those two holes right there to hold it in, but they're not there. Apparently I didn't put them in because I didn't feel they needed it, but it just goes across the back in front of the carpet, so I got to crawl in there and pull that out. So right now I've almost got my sandbar taken out, and I've run into a bit of a problem pulling it around that cover of the seat belt. And the reason is I have clips on the end of those quick connects at the end of the speaker wires, and I don't want to take those off if I don't have to, so I've got to take these things off anyway. So now's a good time. I ran these wires, and I ran them both down the same side because I didn't want to take both sides apart. But one of the wires is hung up a little bit. This is two pieces. They don't seem to be attached to each other. But I don't seem to be able to get the one off. Wires done. I'm going to run them under the carpet since I'm going to have the carpet out. And maybe that is one piece. It's two pieces. Definitely tell it's two pieces, but I'm gonna have to see after I get this soundbar out of my way. I think the rear cargo light needs to come out because it's probably around that carpeting covers the centerpiece, and then I'll have to figure out how to get these pieces off. So I'm going to shut the camera off for a bit while I handle some of that stuff that is irrelevant to a stock 76. So I've already popped the plastic cover off of the cargo light, and there are two screws holding that in. I would suspect that's the frame of it that goes around the carpet, holds the carpet in as well to some extent. And then there are three little plastic clips that you have to just pop out of the hole there and that hold the top of the carpet in. So we'll get these out. That goes through a hole in the carpet. I can probably just slip that through there for now. And pull this center piece of carpet out. So, get this out of the way. Let's pull the clips off the back first. That through that way. And it's out. You might wonder what these little things are. Those are actually dryer sheets for fabric softener. I had some rodents get in here a few years ago, and that happens to be a pretty good way to get rid of the smells, to put some of the one of the dryer sheets underneath the carpet. I'm going to get these plastic clips and make sure I have them all, because I'm sure they won't come with the new carpet. Okay, I found two little screws that are holding that cover of the seat belt in. That carpet extends way up under that that part over here. So I'm thinking that, and it goes way up in here. I'm thinking that the seat belt is going to have to be undone to get that out. Those two screws are right in back here. And I hope my head's not in the way, but it'll be hard to get to because they're up in there and tough to get the screwdriver started. Okay, I think I've got the one started. That was the bottom one. I'm trying to leave these screws attached to the piece I'm removing. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but tell how long they are. Okay, they're loose. And one of them fell out and the other one I caught. Oh man, there's one that's coming in from the back side this way. If I drop my screwdriver, I may never get it back. I'm going to try to get a shorter screwdriver because that one is, I think, a little bit too long to reach in there. I have a stubby, but I'm not sure that the Phillips head on it isn't going to be too fat. Let me check it on one of the screws. No, it should work if I can get it in there. That's crazy that that's in there like that. You know what, I'm going to shut the camera off because I know that you're just seeing the back of my head. appears to have to happen to get that out of there. The only other option is if that whole entire panel can come out. I'm not sure that is an option. Might be worth exploring though. Okay, I am going to take, or attempt to take off the entire rear panel here. I have already taken this piece off of the side here. I'm going to need to take this piece off. There's a screw here, and the seat belt screw is up there. Now, I may not have to take that one out if I can get enough wiggle room to get behind there and free up that screw. My opinion is it's always ready to take, it's always better to take more off that comes off easily than it is to try and work around it. So I don't know why I even played around with it that long. I guess it's part of figuring out what to do. That definitely gave me some wiggle room. Let's see how successful we are now. And like I said, I may have to take this off. This is just slid here and there's a bolt there. It's probably the same 13/16 that the seat belt was held in at the floor. So one more screw up here. Got one of those washers on the back of it, and I'm turning the washer thinking I'm turning the screw. I'm going to strip this off. Manual screwdriver. Since I was having trouble with it grabbing on that head. Okay. That is out. Still difficult. feel the screw. Nope, not with that one. You would think that would come off. It is under this piece. Makes me wonder if I'm going to have to tear that out. So here's the panel I took out. Right here, right there are the two screws I was able to reach from behind. And there's the one that's in from the side in the back that I never did get to. I may or may not take that out for putting it back together and just leave it with those two holding it in from the back, which I think I can get in. I'll determine that after I've got the carpeting in. So now it looks like the carpet is under the seat belt. So I'm gonna have to remove the seat belt there. Right there, and I should check to see if the camera's focused there. Okay, it is. I'm going to zoom it in just a little bit, not too much. But, there's the seat belt that's the carpet's it's bolted through the carpet. So and this looks like the carpet is split to go through that. So I hope those carpets you buy are cut for those things. If they aren't, since that's under a cover, I might just take the easy way out and just cut a big hole right here. Okay, one more thing still holding us back. That's the retainer for cargo. I think it's mainly meant to be locks in. I may have learned something here. There appears to be a clip that you could just push off of the loop that's bolted in with some effort, because this appears to be Let me try the other side. If I can take the clip off from the other side by just pushing it, then I can possibly avoid having, possibly put this back on and just take it off that way. It's clipped on, but it's really on there tight. Not that big of a deal to unscrew it, so I think that's the way I'm going to do it on the other side. So that's it. Just repeat that last process on the other side, and the carpeting is completely removed. So I am going to hopefully show the other, on the driver's side here. There are 3 screws here that need to be removed in order to take that panel out. So just going to do that here while I'm videoing. So I suspect, since I know what I'm doing now, this second one will come off better or quicker. That's one. Looks like the camera got moved. I know. Side. Here's screw number 2. And screw number 3. Uh-oh. That one's going to be a problem because it wants to round off the head, strip out the grooves. So I'm going to address that with actually an impact driver. Hopefully this will do it. If not, I'll have to drill it out. Well, I'm going to shut off the camera and see whether we end up drilling or whether I'm successful with that. If I'd have paid closer attention to the passenger side, I would have known this, but after beating on that for a while and trying to get it out, these aren't holes, these are slots, and all you got to do is loosen that a little bit and it'll slip off of it. So, lesson learned.